Hi friends, it's me, Jenna, with the White Witch Parlor, and today I want to talk about some Halloween and Samhain symbols and why they're tied to Halloween, Samhain, and the month of October or the autumn season. Halloween symbols actually have a lot of roots in the ancient pagan traditions. Deriving from Celtic folklore and stories and history, we find ourselves also tuning into what was the medieval. And a lot of these symbols that we see during Halloween now were cast out by the churches as evil or demonic. And so they became synonymous with the time of the devil and Samhain and Halloween, which is not what it is. The traditions of Halloween stem from Samhain. And I've talked about this many times before in past videos, but Samhain is a time to actually honor our dead, honor our ancestors, and honor the loved ones who have passed on. The veil between the worlds becomes at its thinnest, and we're able to simply tune in to those frequencies that our loved ones are trying to come through with messages. We start to see them more frequently in our dreams, and we start to see and feel their presence more around us during the time of October. So many of the things that we see now in Halloween stores and on the shelves in the grocery stores during the time of October and the autumn season are very much tied to Halloween and spiritualism. The occultism, jack-o'-lanterns, black cats, spiders, they are all tied to the spirit realm. But we have commercialized these images and grew up seeing these images placed in movies, advertisements, and commercials that we see them as just imagery for Halloween. But we are not always looking at where they actually came from. Why are jack-o'-lanterns so popular with the Halloween season? We grow squash around all season long, and it starts to actually come to fruition or time to harvest during late summer. So why are jack-o'-lanterns actually not tied to late summer and instead to Samhain? Originally, Celtic traditions used turnip during the time of Samhain to scare away demonic energies that were lurking while the veil was at its thinnest. We then moved into pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns, carving those scary faces to ward off evil energies or low vibrational energies that were lurking during the time of Samhain and usually the autumn season. Because of this ancient tradition, during the time that the veil is at its thinnest, we now use the symbolisms of pumpkins and turnips and jack-o'-lanterns during the time of Samhain. So next time you grab your kid's candy bucket and it has a jack-o'-lantern face on it, just know it's there to ward off evil energies. And it's not just simply a commercialized thing. Another side note about jack-o'-lanterns, it was also meant to light the path for lost souls. Those who needed a way to find the light, it was a jack-o'-lantern that would guide them there. In modern day, jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins now serve as a festive decoration. They also bring a lot of color, and the color of orange, just like the fall foliage around in autumn. Orange is also tied to our sacral chakra. That is a place of nurturing, safety, comfort, and coziness. So there is no coincidence in that. The autumn time is known for coziness and comfort, usually drinking hot chocolate by a window on a rainy day, watching the autumn foliage fall in a rain shower. It's all a sense of coziness and cuddling with a blanket. It's all the time of coziness, which tends to make it the reason why so many people love the autumn season. Skulls and skeletons, they are the symbol of death and rebirth. They are the reminder that death comes for us all. They are the reminder of our own mortality, and they serve as a symbol of that veil between life and death and the spirit realm, and reminding us that all things must come to an end, and with it there will be new energy that comes forward. Skulls and skeletons remind us of our own mortality. It reminds us of the morbid reality that death does come for everything that is living. Skulls represent that boundary, and they also make a great adornment for your altars and your loved ones. If you find animal bones, things of that nature, using chicken bones even work. Anything that you can find that's naturally found in nature would work on your altar if you're making a Samhain altar, a Day of the Dead or Dia de los Muertos altar, and also an All Souls night or day altar, so that you can represent death and remind yourself and your loved ones that this too will be you. So why not celebrate their life and set up an altar? How easy is it to set out a photo of your loved one who has passed on and a candle for them? It's these simple things that help us remind ourselves that our soul, although lives on, our physical body is not here forever. So in modern day, the skull now is a symbol in Halloween, bones and shaking skeletons. It is a reminder that we also are tuned into the afterlife while the veil is at its thinnest. And it might even be a reminder to go visit your loved ones, go to the cemeteries. Next is witches, especially witches on broomsticks, because back in the medieval time, it was accused that witches were actually riding their broomsticks, if you catch my drift. And we know that ergot, this bread yeast that was being put on the broomsticks at the time for insert adult content here, so that witches could get high and fly on their broomsticks. So they would ride their broomsticks in the night high, and of course it had to be demonized. So the church made it so, and so it got cast out into the time of the devil, which again goes back to Halloween and Samhain. And so now we have that symbolism of witches flying and riding their broomsticks at night, high in the sky, high as a kite in the sky. And so if you see witches on broomstick, now you know where that comes from. Also, just witches in general have become such a strong symbolism, and all witches, usually that you'll see around the Halloween time, are these ugly, decrepit old women with, pointy noses and green skin, and it's to scare you away from what is the natural ability that women have to grow life out of darkness, and herbalism, learning the plants and learning the healing powers of nature, the God-given right that we have for free medicine. So watching pop culture take on an image such as a witch, and specifically a witch flying through the broom, on a broom in the night, is kind of funny when you think about it. We also have the symbolism of things flying across the sky, flying across the moon, also tied to that moon lunar energy. Witches are not spooky, and they don't need to be mysterious. If you know a witch, just ask them. They probably have a ton of knowledge to share with you and would love to share with you if you're interested in learning. The next symbol is black cats. Black cats we see around October a little bit more. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think they are tuned into the veil, and they come out of the woodwork. I, in my own area, start seeing at least 3 or 4 black cats that I don't see around the rest of the year, but suddenly around September and October, here come multiple black cats. Black cats know when the veil is at its thinnest. Black cats are a symbol, or any cat is a symbol of the spirit realm. They can tune into frequencies, spirits, energies that we often don't see. We often don't even feel. They can hear things we're not hearing, and they will stare at something that is clearly not in the room. So because, again, this was demonized as witchcraft, black cats have been kind of put into the pot of, or the cauldron of, Halloween and Samhain, and some people fear black cats. I personally feel like when I come across a black cat, that's a good luck charm for the day. Some people don't feel that way, and again, that is part of your magic. And if you have superstitions that are real to you, then that is real, because it's real in your mind, in your heart. So superstitions are real, and they do work because you're allowing them to work. In modern culture, black cats are now tied to, again, superstition, a bit of luck, but they're also just so loved and adorned now that that superstition of them being bad luck seems to have faded a lot, especially in the past maybe 20 years. I remember growing up, it was way more feared to have a black cat around, where now people really embrace it. So that's a nice change to see. And next we have bats. Bats are interesting because bats also use no vision, and they use sonar to hear where they're going. They fly high in the night. And the ancient Celts believed that the bats were attracted to the Samhain bonfires that were happening. Bats are always tied to darkness because they work in the night. They are nocturnal. And because they were tied to darkness and being nocturnal creatures, they were also tied to actual darkness. And so with that, again, thrown in the cauldron of Halloween, they became a spooky symbol for the Halloween season in Samhain. Bats are amazing. Bats remind us that we can hear vibrations that most of us don't acknowledge. In modern symbolism, bats represent mystery and transformation, the ability to see in the darkness. Next up, we have ghosts and spirits. This also ties into the veil being at its thinnest. And if it's at its thinnest, we are able to tune into the frequencies of our ancestors, the messages that they're leaving us in our dreams, or in things being left around the house that we didn't put there, certain smells or scents or words or visions that come to mind. We are so susceptible during the autumn season because the veil is just so much thinner. And so those who normally aren't able to tune into this frequency tend to do it, and often in their subconscious when they're dreaming. Ghosts and spirits remind us of the unfinished business here on Earth, that when we cross over, we might come back to haunt individuals or haunt our old spaces because we simply feel like the work wasn't done yet. So if that reminder reminds you to get out and make your life what you want and what you wish for it, it's a great reminder. In modern culture, it could be spooky or whimsical. We can make it cute for little kids and call them ghosties, or make them really spooky and create whole haunted house shows out of them. Either way, the supernatural is a huge fascination with so many people, even the non-believers, because they want to believe in more. And so, again, thrown into that cauldron Halloween pot, we have ghosts and spirits. No matter what the symbols that you see all around for the Halloween season are, remember that they all came from somewhere. They came from a tradition, an ancient tradition, most of it being Celtic rooted, and most of it tying to the symbols of death and rebirth and transformation. Everything around you that is alive will eventually die and come to an end. And the beauty of that is to remind us to enjoy life for what it is now. And don't be so worried about death. Be worried about your life now and how you can make it better, improve it every day, and improve yourself every day. It's okay to have mess ups. It's okay to not always have everything right. The point is to enjoy life. And remember that Halloween is that breath of fresh air to remind us, hey, we may not have that much time left here on Earth. Let's make it the best possible life we can. And that's the beauty of witchery, the beauty of magic, the beauty of nature, and the beauty of Halloween and Samhain and the autumn season, because it reminds us that time might be running out. So let's enjoy it. I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed day, and I hope you enjoy this video. Blessed be.